We are live, folks. Welcome to my stream, Nev, Nev the Disruptor. Um, like I've said before, and I will say it again. My stream is modeled again, after politics and Packer debates, Trump supporters. But there's one key difference is that I'll be taking calls from anybody, everybody, on it. And politics and religion, science, and once in a while the Knicks. Yeah. So yeah, so I love my Knicks. So yes, I'll be taking call on them. You know, yeah. Politics and Packer debates from supporters are two of the really outstanding shows out there, and they're really making a difference because for a long time conservative um, uh, rebel rousers, agent provocateurs, basically had the field, basically had you know, the the arena to themselves, basically had the arena to themselves, and they themselves, they and because of that, they have said many hurtful things. They have marginalized our community, our lesbian, gay, transgender community, marginalize and denigrate immigrants, you know. And the crazy part about all this is that um, the founding fathers' vision was basically is a melting pot of immigrants. You know, we are a melting pot of immigrants. That was the founding fathers' views. Uh, I've said this in my previous video, and I will say it again. That has many repercussions. And even today, it having ripple effects. You know, when you look around the world, yeah, there are very few countries that's isolated and segregated. That is the founding fathers' view. There are very few countries because we have so many ethnic groups in our country that if we were to go to war today against China, we'd have so many Chinese people. We'd have so many Chinese people going to war. Uh, yeah, and going to war against China because they are they have they have embraced our country. Japanese, Chinese, you know, Philippines, name it. This country has it. And if we were to go to war, even Russians, this country has plenty of Russians. And if we were to go to war today, we would have Russian fighting Russians. We would have Chinese fighting Chinese because they consider themselves Americans. That, that is the founding fathers' vision. So it drives me nuts when I see how these people have denigrated immigrants, have have basically, you know, I'm talking about the worst thing about when it comes to immigrants. Wow, first time, man. Yeah, man. I am live on YouTube. I'm actually live. I had so many trials and errors, making videos that's not being recorded. So when you're starting something new, like I said, I'll get back to the founding fathers. Let me go off another little thing. When you're starting something new, anything new, there are going to be problems because it doesn't matter. You're still a baby within that context. You're still, you're still trying stuff. You're still experimenting. You still have to overcome, little things not working properly. You know. So I think I am at the point where first time I'm actually live. I can see myself on YouTube live, because I was trying to figure StreamYard. I actually joined StreamYard. And then by mistake. I actually joined StreamYard by mistake because I was trying to get on one of basketball shows. Ron, still Knicks fan, Ron, uh, and he has a show on the weekends. I used to always get on, you know, and then I stopped and I was trying to get on. I think somebody blocked me because I'm not able to get on this show for whatever. I might have a pretty good idea too. Who blocked me? It might be Sherwood because we always used to have, we used to go against each other constantly. So I don't be Sherwood, but I don't know for sure. But for the last few times I've been trying to get, I just couldn't get on. So I actually created an account on Streamline to stream. I didn't even know that's what I was doing because I was, I'm wondering why I'm not able to get on Ron show. And so my pursuit to get on my show, to talk about the Knicks, to talk about um, Tom Thibodeau getting fired. So I opened the account on Streamline, thinking that's what prevented me from getting to Ron show. So so I had some, and I had this account open, and then I closed it. And now I did Trivia. I found that Trivia is the best thing for one of the best for live shows, the call-in shows, because that's what this is. I forgot to give the number. It's how bad I am. I forgot to give the number, and I forgot to see. I don't remember my number on top of my head because all this thing is new to them. It might be. Let me see on YouTube if it shows the number. You know, because I actually forgot to get the number because that's how bad I am. Yeah. So you know what? Let me give out the number just in case anybody wants to call. The number is 347-670. You know what? Let me post it in the chat because like I said, when you study something new, it's a lot of little errors, thing like that. You have to go for a lot of little mistakes. Let me post this number. Call the number. Call in. So welcome, folks. Anybody welcome? Anybody that's going to see this stream, welcome. And today, like I said, we're going to talk about it's a time travel. We're going to talk about it's Bob Marley's the thing, man. Time will tell. We call it after Bob Marley. Time will tell because we're actually going to take. We're actually going to. We're actually going to go back in time. We're going to analyze. We're going to talk about two critical points that's going to happen into the future. That's going to eradicate religion. So we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about the founding fathers' vision. That's something I will talk about every day on this stream. Every time on this stream, that's something. That's something I want to bring to MAGA in particular because they want to destroy the founding fathers' vision. They hell bent on destroying the founding fathers' vision, and they don't even realize that's what they're doing. They hell bent on destroying the founding fathers' vision. Yeah, yeah. Wow. See, I just learned something new. Yeah, so they're hell bent on destroying that vision, and they don't know that's what they're doing, and they don't know is the founding fathers' vision that has put us, that has made us the one of the greatest countries, or maybe the greatest country in the world. You know, you know, and the the nation, we're a nation of immigrant part, plays a vital role in that. You know, yeah. So they 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 for a long time, and Donald Trump, and I will talk about Donald Trump a lot because I've said that before. And I'll say it again. He was one of the best politicians I have seen. There might not be another Donald Trump for a long time to come because, you know, people will change. Donald Trump could have brought along one of the greatest coalition, you know, for Republican president in history. He could have created one of the greatest coalition for any Republican in history because that is how a good a politician he is. But at the same time, Donald Trump doesn't care about people. And he actually told his supporters that. He literally told them, I don't like you. I just want your vote. Something to that effect. I don't know if I'll be quite right. You know, I just want your vote. He literally said that. Donald Trump will tell the truth. You know, when he says something once or twice, you know, anytime he says something once or twice, that is the truth. So when he talks about um, birds getting, you know, windmills and birds and all that stuff, that is a way to use psychological mind on people. Like he's trying them to hate, um, renewable energy. You know, if he gets more people to dislike renewable energy, that in itself, this is actually converting people. You know, a lot of people think Trump is crazy when he says things, when he says those stuff. But a lot of times it's just a psychological maneuver. That's all it is. You know, I'm saying this, oh, they kill birds, they destroy that, and if I don't want to get, don't want to get, don't want to get executed in the water or shocked to death and all. That's a psychological move he's doing, you know, and that's what he's doing. That's what that is, you know. So and you listen to Donald Trump supporters even today. They 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 now they have a dislike for things into the future. For they have a dislike for electric cars. Somebody actually said we should have electric cars. Somebody came uh, Packer debates Trump supporters. And one of them said we should have electric cars. It's like saying we should have flat screen TV. You know, let's go backwards. Let's go backwards to when we had screen TV, the big bags and almost 50 pounds, 60 pounds. Let's go back to those days. You know, yeah, that's what the person said. But Donald Trump, is like I said, he's one of the greatest politicians I've seen because he uses all kind of tricks, all kind of maneuvers to get these people to to follow him. And not to don't follow him, sacrifice everything for him, not just follow him. They're willing to sacrifice anything for themselves, your family, your children, your well-being, everything. You know, because that's how good of a politician he is. You know, yeah. If that, like I said, if Donald Trump wanted to create one of the greatest coalition, he could have. He really could have, because he got he got a higher percentage of minority everywhere, minority people in every facet, in every area, you know. So you got a minority people in every facet, but he destroyed that because he has his own goals. Maybe becoming a king here, yeah. So to him that doesn't matter, you know. He created the greatest rogue army. That's more important. Scaring people, that's more important, you know. So, there are a lot of things we don't know. We'll just have to, as we go along, Donald Trump will reveal what his true intentions are. I'm pretty sure. Anyway, like I said, this stream is modeled after politics. Poly is great, man. If you ever want a show, and he comes on more in the evenings, uh, Parker comes. Parker can spend the entire day on on the air. That guy is addicted. One of these days, I'm going to do a marathon like him. Maybe 5 hours the most. You get to 10 hours, 12 hours. And he's really good at turning young people and getting young people to open their eyes. You know, getting young people there, how how their morals and ethics and integrity are corrupt. He's really good at doing that. And I'll always be on this show praising those two guys. There are a lot of other good shows. Coach, know, the Tabitha, many of these good shows out there, man. Midas Touch, I watch all of them, you know. But let's get back to time travel. Time will tell. Now, the reason I opened this, the reason I gave this title to this stream is because I want people to envision two scenarios. You know, we're going to travel back in time to the 10th century, and then we're going to travel into the future to the 30th century, then 30th, 31st century, among the 31st century. Yeah. So we're going to travel back in time. And I'm going to show you why, if we were able to travel back in time, why that would make us a god. With the knowledge we have today and traveling back in time, that would make us a god. But if we were to travel into the future, about the same amount of time, our knowledge would be absolute and irrelevant if we were to travel in the future. Can you believe that? Traveling in the future makes our knowledge of what we have absolute and relevant. Because in the future, there are two critical points that's going to happen. One, robots are going to become sentient creatures. They're literally going to be just like us. They're going to feel, they're going to have all that feeling sense, all that sixth sense, all of that feel, taste. So they're going to become sentient creatures. And two, women are no longer going to need to have babies. All our babies are going to be come from a test tube or something to that effect. Sex is just going to be for fun. You know, having kids is no longer a woman's, responsibility, or not. That's a woman. She doesn't need to do that. So first, and when that time comes, it's going to be a slow, gradual process, like everything in nature, but it's going to come. When those two collide, you know, robots becoming sentient creatures, and women, we not know who women are no longer needed to have kids. Kids, our kids going to, born just about. We're going to be able to choose whatever we want, colors, eye color, whatever, gender, sex, whatever. Yeah. But when those two collide, you know, religion would be at its nadir, you know, because that should not happen. I really believe those things shouldn't happen under a God, believing in God. Yeah. And uh, I'm going to show you, like, because our knowledge, is so weak that we put so much emphasis on the eggs of a woman. We do. It's unbelievable because we don't realize every woman, every woman has about 1 million to 2 billion eggs, folks. That's 1 million to 2 million eggs. And by the time they reach puberty, they have lost 500,000 eggs. They have lost 500,000 eggs. To a lot of people cannot even grasp at that number. They don't, they don't realize that. They cannot even grasp that number. But wait till one year about man and their sperm. See, we just, it's nature does not do anything in singles. That's what when you come to my scientific part of this stream, you're gonna be amazed of many of the things you're going to hear. Because nature doesn't do anything. That's why when they talk about Big Bang, you know, I have some controversy over using the Big Bang. Because I said I don't believe in nature. The universe doesn't do anything in singles. Nature doesn't do anything in singles. You know. So, so when we come to about a Big Bang, it's you will see it's going to be controversial. Many of the topics I'm going to be touching is going to be controversial. It's not going to be easy. Yeah. But I've been looking for a forum to talk about a lot of these issues because, I have never been a religious person. Never. My earliest memories about religion is my stomach. When you're a 7-day Adventist and you have to go through that fasting period, oof, 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 oof. That wasn't for me as a kid. You know, I didn't like fasting. That wasn't for me. Yeah, that's what I remember about religion. And my mother, she used to go to when we were back home, she used to go to church for a while, for a little bit. But when we came up here, and I came up here, I don't think I have ever went to church with my mother, not once. Yeah, so I don't know if I got that from my father, you know. But religion was never something I embraced, even as a kid. You know, I despised that time of my, I have to go to, I have to fast from Friday to, to till after church, 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock. Oh boy, couldn't wait to get home, doing something. Excuse me, folks. Yeah, excuse me. 'Cause I couldn't wait. So, as I grow older, man, my mind, I see things. I've seen things, and we're going to talk about them. That has strengthened my belief that even in that it's not one bang, it's a continuous, infinite number of bags. It's always bang. Life is always being created, even on this earth. And I will tell you a little experiment you can do at home to create life yourself, to see it for yourself. Yeah, to see our life, because we don't take, we really just live. We live in a scientific world, but we don't take much. We're not aware of it. We're like sleeping babies. We're just like walking babies because we're not really fully aware of the world we're living in. We don't really know how ubiquitous science is around us. Just about everything, in every facet, in there, our TV, food, the houses, you know, because we don't have an appreciation of time. We live in this time, and that's normal for just about everybody. And we still think, I'm looking for that word. Uh, think by our own time, would escape me, and I'm not very good at. I have one of the it gets so wide is vocabulary, but sometimes when you want to say a certain word, that my brain sometimes it just doesn't make it easy. Yeah, that's something. That's another thing you're going to have to kind of get used to, man. Because words that just don't want to come out. And even though I practice those words, they're like when I'm ready for them, they're like, no, 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 no. Try another one. They're literally like, no, 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 I'm not coming out. Like my brain has a brain of its own that controls it. It's literally like I have a double brain, one that control my brain. So yeah. So we basically live in a little cocoon, that's not the exact word I was looking for, but that one is close enough. You know, you basically, on a little cocoon, and we everything around us, we're consumed. That's what the word consumed. We're consumed. You see, that's how long it took for that one to come out. Yeah, so we're consumed by our own world. Have to take care of, working, you know, putting in cooking, taking care of kids, taking care of thinking of significant all those things. So we're basically consumed by that reality, and we live in that reality. But time, even though I gotta tell you something about science, another thing I want to tell you about how time doesn't matter for the universe. The universe doesn't go by time. Time is created for us. Time is was created by men for us to measure our lifespan. But the universe, time is not a factor to the universe. Yeah, but yeah, so that's another. Yeah, like I said, there are a lot of crazy things. So, I am off topic. Yeah, so where I was, let's get back to where I was. So, time. I was talking about time. I'm talking about yeah. So we all we pretty much consumed by our everyday life, you know, and we don't really have a true appreciation because it's these things are there. They're just there. And you walk in your home, your TV is just there. The door you just open is there. You haven't taken because you ain't going to waste time thinking about, hey, check out how this door works from a house from a house from 10 years ago, 20 years ago, 40 years ago. Actually, we're on the verge of having house built in days, weeks. Yeah. There's actually a company that's doing that right now. Boxing out. I think it's not even on the market yet, but I definitely believe it's going to actually invest it in that company. Because I definitely believe that a lot of houses, especially with the next 3.5 years in the present, a lot of people won't be able to buy houses. Houses is going to be a mess. The economy is going to be a mess. We're really in a bad place. And the pain really hasn't started yet. We're really in a bad place because everything that a president not supposed to do to maintain a good economy, this president is doing it. So, I actually believe Wall Street should have, really doesn't reflect what's happening in the real world. Because I think Wall Street should be, there should be around 30,000. The Dow Jones should be around 30,000, in my opinion. But it's not truly reflecting what this guy is doing. So it's running on its own, whatever. So, but you know, I really believe I've said this before. I said it to my family members. I really believe this time around, the rich is going to feel it. Yeah, they're rich because a lot of businesses are going to go out of business. A lot of companies are going to go out of business. They're gonna be lots of bankruptcies, plenty of bankruptcies, because they're eviscerating the middle class. They're literally they're taking a sledgehammer to the middle class and eviscerating them. That's what this guy is doing. Yeah, and they have taken the where they have created a lower level by taking away, SNAPs, Medicaid, cutting those programs. They have basically created a lower floor, and that floor is where people is going to. I don't want to say that unalive. People are going to suffer too, because they have created a lower floor, and 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 what a lot of people don't realize, these policies they put in, that's for 10 years. He might be in office for 4.5 years. He might be in office for 3.5 years. Excuse me, 3.5 years. But the policy they put in is for 10 years, folks. 10 years we have to deal with this thing. We have to deal with the taxes. Yeah. And his tariff, oof. A lot of people, a lot of business people in the business community, hoping that is, hope that some court overturn his tariff. But yeah, they can hope all they want. I don't see that happening because the Supreme Court has given the president king-like powers. The Supreme Court, they did. And now we have somebody with king-like powers that have no ethics, no morals, no integrity. And he's basically has created a rogue army. I laugh all the time, man. I laugh. I like, man, for years we've been here about the deep state, the deep state, the deep state, the deep state this, the deep state that. You probably could be telling us about the deep state. And now they went about and created it. They have created the deep state. They have an uncomfortable rogue army. And he can do whatever he wants. Yeah. He can do whatever he wants. So they basically created the deep state. Yeah. Yeah. Well, I hope somebody called me to see if my phone is working. That's another obstacle. You see? I was looking for that word earlier. Obstacle I have to overcome. I was looking at saying that. Yeah. Yeah. Sometimes so it's not even worth having a vast vocabulary because you can't say the word when you want it. What's the big deal? Oh, yeah, that's you know, that. But that's my brain. It always works like that. I don't know why. Yeah, I don't know why. I can tell you, man. My brain has a brain of its own. I literally believe that my brain has a brain of its own. Because when I want to recall something, man, it's like no, 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 not now, not today. It will give me a headache before it it gives me the word I'm looking for. So and my brain has a brain of its own. And to think of it, that might be the case because your brain constantly think all the time. It's always going, always thinking, and that's where a lot of people get caught up in because they they actually rely too much on their brain. They don't realize they have to kind of try to check it. And that's where the conspiracy comes in. That's where many of their conspiracy comes in. Because their brain is running all the time. And that's its job. Its job is literally to figure ways to help protect you. That's the brain's job. The brain has its own function. So if you walk in a dark alley, you feel fearful. You know, same way you can feel fearful of immigrants and feel like they're subhuman beings. We're seeing it right now. We're literally seeing it right now because you ascribe every negative to them, right? And if something and don't let something happen, that's actually negative. Like somebody get into an accident, illegal, an illegal person get into an accident and hurting somebody real bad, unaliving somebody. Oh boy, because you are made that your primary function, you see everything in that sense, and because it's a negative sense. We want to talk about hate and love in a minute. But because it's a negative sense, and we'll come back to the time travel thing, you know. But because it's a negative energy you have empowered. You want to see them as bad people. One is, you know, the the prison this guy is building, Alligator Alcatraz. This the what's that name? That country. We are putting when you have to look at what this guy has, this president has made his supporters accept. It's going. It's you have to think this is crazy. You're living in an alternate reality because it's acceptable to put people that basically, you know, committed a crime that's the equivalent to jaywalking in maximum prison. That's crazy. Folks, that's it's so the you know uh, people that have unalive people and serving death row, how getting better treatment. People don't realize that. A lot of markets they don't realize somebody on death row is getting better treatment than an illegal immigrant. Yeah, it's 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 the scale of justice. There's no justice. That's not justice. I am I am I am going to my court, going to the court because I'm reporting to court. That's what I have to do as a legal immigrant, and I'm getting arrested and put in prison in a foreign gulag for how long? For in the indeterminate number of time. I don't even know how long. I don't even know if they give this, like, oh, okay, we're gonna send you in jail. These people don't even know how long they're gonna be in the jail like that. You know, what kind of justice is this? And Margaret, they laugh at this thing. They revel in this thing. It's like, dude, do you know how crazy this is for you to be doing this to people that literally destroying these people's life just because to the equivalent of jaywalking. Yeah, it's like I'm crossing the street. I'm jaywalking. I'm crossing the street and against things against the law. That's a cop, two cops, five cops just grab me. Literally. They're like, damn, you jaywalking. Yeah, we're gonna put you in prison for we don't know how long. That's crazy. It's psycho, psychotic. Why, folks? You know, this should not be the case. What we do to these people, which we can we check this out. Check out how crazy this is, folks. And that's the things I want to bring to the to MAGA, to people at calling or whatever, everybody. The discrepancy, how we treat these people. Check this out. We creating a jail in the alligator in a swamp, basically in a swamp. We're creating a jail in the swamp where alligators can eat these people. Hurricanes can drown them, you know, and they can actually starve to death too, because it's not really. It's just it's just cages, basically just cages. Just for what? Donald Trump has gotten these people to accept some of the most abominable things human beings can do. That's what he has done. He's such a good politician, because he has gotten them to support some of the worst things we can do as human beings. And some people laugh at it. There was a lady, I've seen her, and it was the Texas. And the funny thing is that when these people need, when they need the support system, they're trying to destroy the government. They don't mind. They have absolutely not mind coming and begging for the government help. You know, you know, they want everybody to put on their bootstrap and pull it off and do whatever. But when it's done, oh, they cry. They're crying to everybody when the catastrophe happened to them. When it's there to face some, Mother Nature's whim or wrath, they will cry to the government. But this is they don't realize that they have absolutely. It's like they're so into their cult-like mentality. They don't realize the same thing they're trying to destroy. They're saying hell bent and destroying is the same thing they're going to do. And, and to hear them cry, boy, wow, it's like, uh, it's just amazing to me. When you don't want FEMA to come to anybody rescue, but when it's you, yeah, bring in FEMA, bring in this, bring in that. Oh, we're not getting help. But, it's okay when it's somebody else you don't like, you know. So, so that's basically my rant. Now, let's get back to the main topic of this trip. Yes, so time will tell. So, if you will, we like I said, two inflection points are coming, two critical points. One is that robots are going to be sentient creatures. I mean, we can see the writing on the wall. It's coming. You know, two, you know, um, babies are going to be created in an incubator-like thing, and in a incubator outside the mother's womb. That's what it's going. That's coming. So when those two collide, those two critical points collide, religion would be at its lowest, because everything religion has taught us that it can control. Those two things are, religion is basically, to me, it's a form of control, but basically to subjugate women. It does an excellent job of subjugating women. And that's why we especially make everything that related to life, because the mother carries the baby to life. Anything that relates to life. So, like extreme, we go on the extreme level, you know. But, I'm pretty sure the day is coming, and when those two, when robots are going to be sentient creatures, and and babies are going to be literally born outside the womb of the mother, and sex will be just for pleasure. Yeah, because for and the life of the mother is not even going to be in question. That's not going to be a issue. The life of the mother. Because as much as now, if you look at it, religious people don't really care about the life of the mother. They basically more care about the unborn child. To them, the unborn child is more important. I don't know how they justify that in their head, or they just can overlook the mother and say the unborn child is more important. That it doesn't drive to me. It doesn't, I just don't get it, you know. And because of that, maybe some of these crazy things, maybe that's what pushes us to find other ways, new ways. Because to me, you know, putting the the life of the mother ahead of the child is especially at that age, especially so young. It's just another crazy thing. I just can't get in my head. Just but because we put so much emphasis, what it is we put so much emphasis on the eggs of the mother because, like I said, we don't really have a wide enough view of how many eggs a woman has, and the processes she goes through her life. Like I said, a woman has over 1 million to 2 million eggs, in her body, and by the time she reaches puberty, she already lost 500,000 eggs. Now, imagine, folks, imagine that something happened, that nature changes a woman's ability, changes some kind of major, major event happening in a woman's body. So now, imagine if women could could um, fertilize, could make babies of half the eggs in their body. So if a woman has about 2 million eggs, and she can fertilize about just say 500,000 of that, could you imagine how long it would take for this planet to be overrun with human beings? Could you imagine that? But the problem with religion, and that's my major problem with religion, it destroys the imagination, folks. One place, religious people, and I believe that to the core of everyone in my body. One place, one detrimental effects of religion is that it curtails the imagination. If you're strong in your faith, you're weak in your ability to create, innovate, come up with good ideas. Yeah, your faith it's directly going to contradict your ability or suppress your ability to imagine stuff and innovate. That's why many of our scientists have to find a way to they have to be agnostic, atheist, agnostic, or something to that effect, for them to you know for them to develop develop new ideas and come up with new solutions. You know, yeah. So because that's the to me that's the most dangerous thing. It's a it doesn't sound like a lot. It doesn't, but to me, you know, um, a lot of even my kids we were having this debate yesterday, and my kids will tell me, oh, you know, mathematics was a book created by Muslim and stuff like that, and they were trying to tell me how how different at different point in time, different people like Muslims advances advances us because they were able to develop something that benefit human beings as a whole. And they have a point, but they a lot of times what it is we don't realize the environment those things will happen in. You know, we because we were not there, we really cannot take we really don't, cannot take and grasp what kind of environment when 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 Muslims were more prominent in mathematics and science, and you know and they're the ones advancing society. And that's what we don't take into our consideration because we don't realize the world at that time may not Muslim may not be a very religious group, you know, or they may have, who knows? But like I said, if they were a very religious group and going around preaching with the Bible, they wouldn't be doing mathematics. Yeah, I don't buy it. Because I think, like I said, religion of all kind, especially when you build it your 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 an opposition opposite faith, opposite religious faith is an infidel or is the enemy. When you have that mentality, and now this might be a good time to talk about hate and love. When you have the mentality of you hate your opponent, and your opponent is the devil, you know, you you cannot see any good in that person, you know, and you're and because hate is strong in all of us. Hate is a very strong emotion, and it's very strong in all of us. And that part of our evolution, we're still pretty, to me, a primitive, primitive in our evolution. So hate is much stronger than love. And hate requires less work. People don't realize that. To hate, it doesn't take much to hate. To love, it takes a whole lot more work to love. It's a constant work to love. And hate doesn't have empathy and sympathy. It doesn't exist in hate. Hate is similar to cancer, where it destroys the user of hate. They're very much alike. While love is healing, that's why it has empathy and sympathy, because it's a healing, but it requires more work. It requires a whole lot more work, folks. Yeah. And that's why you see a lot of Trump supporters. They're going to look around at their life at some point and they're going to realize the damage they have done to themselves for hating somebody else or hating this group, hating that group, hating, you know, all kind of marginalized people. Excuse me, folks. Yeah, all kind of marginalized people, immigrants. They don't see these people as being equal. And again, there's another founding fathers vision. We are all equal. They actually said that. So many of our founding fathers' vision, they couldn't carry it out in their time. Similar to just what I just said about mathematics. It all depends on the time you're in, you know. That's, you know. But the founding fathers put in place a vision that they themselves could hold themselves to. That's peering into the future and saying, what do we want for future generations? You know, not only for ourselves, but for future generations. And that's what the founding fathers did. That's why this country is so great. They were able to peer into the future and say, we have slavery. We could have put in slavery. We were basically the majority in this country. We could have put in the white supremacist views. The white supremacists, they don't realize the founding fathers could have said, white people are better than everybody else. They don't realize that. This is a white country. The founding fathers could have said that. This is a white country. Only whites are allowed. These are some of the things I want to educate these people about. The founding fathers could have said a whole bunch of things. And they went against even some of the things they were doing. You know. Yeah. So like I said, let's get back to hate. Hate is a destructive mechanism. And it destroys the youth. And a whole bunch of MAGA are getting destroyed by their own hate for other people. Yeah, they literally get hate because their body is being corrupted by their views. You know, people don't realize when you have a certain viewpoint, it can be beneficial or it can be negative. One of the two. It's not, and it takes away from every all you it 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 changes your outlook on life and people. You know, it does. That's why MAGA doesn't see immigrants as being equal. They don't see them as one. Hey, that person is, you know, and I believe 100% we are all equal. You know, literally, no person is better than anybody else, and you can see that. You can see that already in people. Like, if you take a Mexican child and drop him in China, 2 years, 3 years, whatever. By the time that child reaches 18, he's going to be fluent Chinese and be pretty damn good in math. Because we're all equal. And you can take that, you can take any kid from any society and do that with. Because if we were not equal, that kid, being of that his Mexican parents, would not able to learn Chinese or would not able to be outstanding in math. But because we're all equal, you can literally do that. You can take any kid and tell me in Japan, and you'll be speaking Japanese, and in this one of Richie's up there, he'll be speaking Japanese and forward because that's all he's going to hear. His brain is going to rewire for all this stuff. That's what me. What it is, and even one of these days, when people realize, hey, nobody else, not whites, not blacks, not this, not any color, has anything over you. You can be just as great as them, or even better. What stopping you is number one, your ability to imagine possibilities. Two, do you embrace the education, science, stuff like that? Are you into those fields? Are you trying to make a difference in humanity? Are you trying to be special, something special? Say, oh, somebody would say, somebody would look at it's just like we look at Albert Einstein and say he made a great contribution to humanity, to the advance of humanity. Do you see yourself becoming of one of those people? You know. So, like I said, and I'll continue saying it, the founding fathers, they put in a place a vision that, that still has ripple in effect around the world. Yeah. And that's why we're less likely to go to a world war. Because one thing that is bolden a country and make them feel superior to every other country is isolation. See, when a country is isolated, nobody comes in, they don't go out. It's easy to get arrogant and feel that you're better than everybody else. That's what happened to North Korea. Russia was up there for some point. Even China was up there for some point. China have learned that they're not so, advanced. Chinese people are good at doing the copy. That's why they have stored many of our technology because they have a really smart class. They have a people that really, values education. They do. But because they have a government dictator dictatorship, they don't have the free will. They have the class, they have the education. But if the Chinese government ever decided to give their people free will to pursue their dreams, look out. You know, because our 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 population, majority of population, really don't embrace education like the Chinese. So if the Chinese government decides to be a very soft, which I think that's where they're going, very soft dictator where people can pursue their dreams much easily, they could be the one coming up with all the innovation in the next century. Yeah. But but you need the free will to pursue your dreams, like Japan. That's why Japan is so technological advance. China can become that, but their government has to become more of a passive government. Right? They don't pursue people, and I don't know if they're ready for that. I don't see that. The COVID thing, the coronavirus showed that they have a they don't believe in passiveness, in being a passive dictatorship. You know, but so that's why they will continue to. You see, just about every technology we have. Like the latest is the EV vehicles. Now China has surpassed Tesla in creating the best electrical vehicles. You see Chinese, you see I think it's called BD. What's the acronym? DBD or something to that effect. Go look at the Chinese electrical vehicles, man. You'll be overwhelmed. You'll be like, why are we driving a Tesla on the American street? Why we don't have this thing out there? You know, because they can take a technology and improve it because they're highly educated. But because they don't have the freedom, if they had the freedom, they probably don't want to invent it to Tesla, the free will. But because they don't have the free will, the government, it's a totalitarian government, and that and they, when you're a totalitarian government and you want to stop people from doing what they want to do, and it's just a mental thing. But the mind is just it's just a mental. It's just how you feel and how you freedom, how you feel, how free you feel. Yeah. So you can be, and the Chinese, basically dragging people out of the house because they want them to, they want to put them in what do you call that word? There we go again. Um, Quarantine. They want to quarantine them. That doesn't feel like freedom to these people. That doesn't feel like freedom. Yeah. So that's why Chinese people are very good. They can take a technology and improve it, which they have done. That's why, like companies, American companies are always complain, oh, they're just stealing our patents or stealing our this or stealing our technologies. Because they're good at copy. They're very good. Yeah. Yeah. So let's go back to love and hate. Love is healing. When you love somebody, you have to exert a whole lot more energy, you know, for loving, especially at the beginning, you know. And when you see somebody in a loving sense, you know, you can sympathize with that person. You can empathize, and that's what is missing in Mega. Mega just don't see immigrants. They don't see anything good about immigrants. Because Trump has convinced them. And that been happening way before Trump. But he's a agent provocateur. And the word agent and provocateur is basically means that they find a way to boil your emotions, to intensify your emotions, to amplify your emotions. So that's what he does best. He amplifies negativity. So all of a sudden you're more concerned about what the other guy is getting. What all immigrants, you hear this thing all the time. It's a constant thing. Constant constant. Here we go again. Yeah, but You hear it all the time. Oh, they're taking our social security. They on our social and social security, healthcare. They on this one. When these people cannot do these things, but because there are always people, there are always a small segment that try to break the law. We can't say for certain uh, all of them are not on it. There might be one. There might be a small segment, but they will if and they'll let them find one. Oh no, Fox News will show that all the time. That'll be on the scroll or the down low. They'll let them find one that they can justify crucify it all. That's how Fox does it. Find one, and then we can justify crucifying all. They're very good at that. They're excellent. I do in my head at some point. I do feel Rupert Murdoch will have some regrets for the damage he has done to this country. I really do believe that. At some point, yeah, he may be doing it right now, because that's the reason he may be going after Trump. But at some point, he'll have some serious regret for the damage he has done to this country. Because nobody has done more damage to this country than Rupert Murdoch, in my opinion. Nobody. You know, that's another subhuman being, you know, making money the primary goal. And for some reason, they talk about running away from dictatorship, and then they come. It's similar to a lot of Cubans. You know, they want to talk about Fidel Castro. What they like his persona. They like his personality, his stubbornness. Because usually, that's one thing most most dictators have. That charisma. They can charm you out of thing. And Fidel Castro had a lot of that. So that's why Cubans, that's why when they see Trump, they see it. They basically see Fidel Castro. That's what Trump reminds them. They always just listen to them how they complain about Biden. Because Biden doesn't have that persona. He doesn't come across like a strong man. Like I'm strong. Like a lot of people put him strong. He doesn't come across, you know, King Jong Un strong. Yeah. So Fidel Castro was strong. Yeah. So they like that persona. They like that thing. That's why they gravitated to Trump. You know, Cubans, they talking big game. Oh, yeah, we want to get rid of communists. They don't want to get rid of communists. They want to be the running communism. That's what it is. That's what they don't realize. We don't want to get communism. We just want to be the running the damn thing. You know. That's and they're learning a hard lesson. Yeah, this guy doesn't want to build no coalition with nobody. He's a true white supremacy. You know, he really believes the white race is superior in every way. That's how he was raised. That's what a lot of MAGA doesn't care. Trump was raised that way to believe he's superior to everybody. Everybody to Trump. Everybody's a servant, literally. You don't realize that's how he was raised. Everybody. including his supporters, a debt to serve him. That's what That's what you are, Marco. You're there to serve your master, Trump, because that's how he sees you. He told you he doesn't like you because you're the poorly educated. You say, Trump, like I told you, if Trump says something once or twice, that is the truth. See what he said, you're the poorly educated? That's another Trump truthism. You actually believe that one. You are the poorly educated. I don't want your vote. I don't want your vote. I don't want your. I just want your vote. That's another truthism. So once in a while, he will tell the truth, like the snakes. You remember the snake? You remember the snake? You remember when he was reading that snake story about the lady getting? You remember the snake? I'm pretty sure you do. No, who looks like the snake now? He was talking about himself. Who's stabbing him in the back? He was basically talking about himself. Now you realize he was talking about himself because he is the snake. I'm hoping to get somebody to call me so at least to see if this one works. Yeah, Maga, you have a lot to learn, but the biggest thing you need to learn is you need to get the hatred out of your heart. Number one, you need to get the hatred out of your heart because it's destroying you. Hatred destroys the user, especially the user. Okay. So you have to get that hatred out of your heart. Number two, you need to learn and embrace the founding fathers' vision. Right now, you're pissing on it. You're destroying it. What has made this country great, they are currently pissing all over it. Naga. So there's two places. These are the places I want to take you guys. You know, these are the places I want to take you guys. Because right now, MAGA is just destroying the founding fathers' vision, and then in the process, they destroy themselves. You are destroying yourself because the number one characteristic you have is hate. You're running on hate. Now we'll say it over again. Hate destroys the user of the hate. It does. If you are running in love, it will be curing you inside. It's a healing. Love is healing. Hate is destructive. It's a destructive emotion. And eventually it's going to take you down. And we need to change that dynamic. We need to get MAGA to realize what they're doing. We need to get them to realize what they're doing is destroying the founding fathers' vision and the benefit and the rippling effect. It continues, excuse me, folks, it continues to have. We need to get MAGA to realize that. Because right now, you don't see that. You know, you know, they don't appreciate it. They're ready. Now they're ready to abandon it. They have made up their mind. They're ready to abandon it. You know. We're gonna be talking a lot about these issues. Like I said, religion, politics, science. And my next, before I go, I want to give one last thing. I want to say I'm so excited about the upcoming season. I'm so excited because, as many of you know me, I was never a Tom Thibodeau guy. I've been saying that from the get go. The one mistake this organization made was hiring Coach Steves. That's the one mistake. I've been saying that for a long time now. I remember when I didn't have nobody. I was like one of the few people that will that were calling, that was saying that was that was a mistake hiring Coach Steves. Because you know, because I just didn't see a coach, and that's what the Knicks organization found out. This coach was an island to himself. He was he he wanted to be the next um, uh, Pat Riley. That was his true goal, to be the next Pat Riley. And he could have accomplished that. I think he had a pretty good chance of accomplishing it in Minnesota, because Minnesota is a much smaller organization than the Knicks. You know, all he had to do was win titles in Minnesota, and he would have achieved had a pretty good chance of achieving his goal, which is become a minority owner. He wanted to be coach, general manager, and a minority owner. I don't even think he would have given up the coaching. I don't even see him doing that. I see him trying to be all, all hats, a man of many hats. So owner, general manager, coach, But that's what he wanted to become. So when you hear the Knicks have a way of, there's another thing. Another thing people don't realize. They didn't have a way of speaking in codes. Number one, they don't talk to the media. And number two, they speak in codes a lot of times. You know. So when you hear them say collaboration, 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 they basically telling you this coach wanted every position. He wanted he wanted his best friend position, general manager. And then he probably go come after the owner, minority owner. But this is the wrong organization. He doesn't realize. He was in the wrong organization to begin with. That's what he did not realize. Because arrogance, and that's another thing I want to talk about. Arrogance doesn't allow you to see your weaknesses. When you're arrogant, it doesn't allow you to see your weaknesses. It's important. It's your strength. It strengthens your strength and make you feel like you have no weaknesses whatsoever. That's how art and hubris work. That's how they work. So if there's one coach that's super arrogant, it was Steve's. He was never really a coach. He was a coach slash general manager, potential owner. And he didn't realize this is the wrong organization for that. Dude, all he had to do was win in Minnesota, and you probably would have gotten your dream job, minority owner. general manager, coach, all three hats. All he had to do was just win some titles. All he had to do was win some titles in Minnesota. That's it. Because Minnesota is an organization I can see him getting all his dreams coming true, not New York. And he didn't realize that we had a tips before. Didn't work too well. he's in Miami. Pat Riley. He set the precedent for what tips will try to accomplish. He said it, you know. And tips, for some reason, even when his best friend hired him, he could not bring himself to humble himself. He just could not be a humble person, appreciate it. That's what you're going to see in Mike Brown. You're going to see a lot of that humbleness, willing to work with others, willing to collaborate. So when you hear collaboration, well, that's what the Knicks are talking about. The guy wanted his best friend job because he thinks he's a know-it-all. I have all the knowledge. I've been saying that about tips from the very beginning. He has a reservoir of basketball knowledge in his head. He coaches like that. Tips will never get anybody's input. Never. And that was his downfall. They got him up there, got him as high as he could have fly. All he had to do was be a better coach. In Minnesota, if he had won 2 titles, I'm pretty sure he would be a minority owner by now. All he had to do was win 2 titles. Show them you can replicate, winning titles. A second title in Minnesota, he would have been a minority owner. That was his ultimate goal, minority owner. Following after Pat Riley. But I don't know why he didn't realize New York didn't accept Pat Riley. The Knicks did not accept Pat Riley. What makes him think the Knicks would accept him? And Pat Riley is how you call that? Yeah, we go again. What ain't gonna come on? He's a very good-looking guy. He has that thing, about him, that a charm and all that stuff. Everybody with the um that facial expression, that I'm actually I'm kidding, the word doesn't, it will come out when I'm ready to use it, but Pat Riley, yeah, Pat Riley, he doesn't realize. Um, James Dolan has seen this before. Has seen this. That's why you would hear many times in the news, James Dolan doesn't like teams, coach teams. I don't think teams will ever got it, right? He never, you was there pushing, but he never got it. Hey, James doesn't really like you. The reason he doesn't like you, he knows your type. He has seen it before. He has experienced it before. With Pat Riley, he recognizes where you want to go. So that's why he never liked you. He just gave, he gave Leonard Rose carte blanche to do whatever, to hire whoever he wants. But Leonard was couldn't control you because you never, Coach Sips never just sees himself as a coach. That's just a temporary stop. Eventually, he wanted to be general manager too, and then owner. That was always his goal. He'd been pursuing that shit for a while. He'd been pursuing it for a while. And too bad he didn't win in Minnesota. Because if he had one in Minnesota, I think it would be a minority owner, like Pat Riley, But I'm happy finally. I'm happy we move on from that. And I never like a coach not coaching players. I always have a problem with that. I always had a problem. I always had a coach trying to be general manager slash owner. I have a problem with that. When you hire a coach should coach players and and let the organization that plays cannot play, you know, not predetermine what that player can do and cannot do. And use your your intellect, your vision, your intellect to peer into the player's future and say, "Oh, that player can't play for me." I never cared for that. That's not my job. If I'm a coach, that's not my job. My job is to get the best out of this player. Excuse me, folks. To get the best out of this player, and coach should never believe in that. He always believe he can tell in advance if this player can play or if this player is an NBA player or not. And he like overachievers. That's why Josh Hart is Josh Hart is his favorite player. It's not Brunson. It's Josh Hart. He loved those guys that can also give their body play 48, 40, 49, 50, 60, 70 minutes straight. He loved those guys. He's more, he, how you call that? He's more think to talent. There we go. Wow. It's right there in my mind. But if you give me, that's why I never believe a talented team will be successful. As you can see, he had a very talented team. I said that early in the season. I was not coming on the show. When I came on Ron's show, I said many times early in the season, you know, that's not a recipe for winning a championship. And he almost got away with it too. But it wasn't a recipe for winning a title. He came pretty close because, you know, he was lucky enough that his players did not sustain major injuries because he was pushing them very hard. Yeah, but he lucky enough. But but his players did not like being pushed that hard. They know what it is all about. Yeah, and winning is not playing your starters. You know, for the entire game. And especially when you're a deep team, when you're a talented team. I don't know if the Knicks were a deep team. I can't say they were a deep team, but they were a talented team. So you're a talented team. You can try to develop a bench because you don't always need your five stars out there all the time to to be very effective. You can literally be less effective to get some other players minutes. And this coach just couldn't do that. He just don't do that's not his philosophy. It's not his philosophy to not to play other guys because he doesn't want to be concerned about substitution. I said that a long time ago. This coach just doesn't want to be he wants to coach every minute and every second of the game. So the mere fact he has to take players in and take players out and worry about minutes and worry when to put them out, it's not his thing. For a long time, he used to coach on both sides of the ball all the time. You know, and I used to get on this case there. I don't know if they were playing those some things in this thing, but I think some of that died down. He used to try to coach both sides of the ball all the time. But no, yeah, you have, you have talented players. You give them a blueprint that you tell them go out there and do it and execute that blueprint. Yeah. Yeah. It requires less teaching because they know what to do. They're talented players. They're the best of the best. So when you have that, it doesn't require you to teach so much, you know. But that's not his style. And that's why I said he will never win a title. I don't see him ever winning a title with that kind of approach. Yeah, definitely is not his style. And then on top of it, he tried to usurp his own best friend and try to take his best friend's job. Come on. So yes, I'm definitely looking to this season coming because I think we're gonna be very good, exceptionally good, because we can utilize many of our strengths. We can play big, we can play small, we can play intermediate. We have it all. We have a deep bench. We also need to see the kids, you know. I don't. One of the things I want to see from the one thing I would like to see from the Knicks is I want Anton Watson to be on this thing. I don't know how, where. I like that kid, Anton Watson. I think he's a NBA ready player. He gives us another dimension. I like that kid. I don't like Najee though. I don't think Najee's a basketball player. I don't like him. He needs to lose a lot of weight, a lot of muscles, not weight, muscles. Become more flexible. Right now, he's not a basketball player. He's not an NBA player. Don't like Najee. Love the rookie. You're a Warrior. Oh, ding paid. You see what good this management. I've been saying that shit. I've been saying that stuff from the beginning. How good this management is. I've been saying that for a long time now. When they started making the trade, I think it might not have been the first year or the second year. I like in my Giants, my New York Giants had just people running there. They would be really tired of us because they know talent. They know how to move around. They're not afraid. You know, Tom Thibodeau, Coach Steve's had an excellent managing team. He's just never appreciated because he believes he know better than everybody else. But he had an excellent management team. If he just work with them, you know, he would still be coaching the Knicks, even though all my objection. Yeah, but he could work with them. He's his own man. He's an island by himself, and that is the funny thing about us human beings. When we get knowledgeable in something, we think we're superior. I've seen this in I've worked in financials for many years, over 20 something years. And I see that arrogance all the time. You can literally see it oozing from their pores. that arrogance, the hubris, because I'm making money. I'm making people rich. And when you certain fields, that's I've I I have found one of the most arrogant fields in financial is being a banker. If somebody says I'm a banker, be mindful that person most likely be an arrogant jerk. Because making money for themselves and people, poof, they don't guard against arrogance. They want to feel superior to the world. They believe they are the masters of the universe. Just like Tibbs. Tibbs believes he's the best coach. He knows everything about basketball. He knows it all. I don't need your help. I don't need your input. He's in his own coaches. You know. So I'm happy he's gone. I'm happy he's gone. I'm really looking forward to this year. To see players, to see a coach just want to work within the system, not not overthrow it. Trump is like a dictator, like it's pretty like a Putin or Kim Jong Un. They believe they have all the knowledge and everything. That's and yeah, he's more like a Kim Jong Un and Putin than even a she. You know, she's actually trying to get his government away from to give his people more freedom. Yeah, but even when I look at tips, I could easily say a Kim Jong Un name or Vladimir Putin because they have that kind of personality. They know better. They know everything. I run everything. I'm in control of everything. Yeah, and New York was always the wrong place for Coach Steve's. Minnesota was the right place, but he couldn't win titles. He couldn't win titles, and he could. He wasn't a good general manager. He was a horrible general manager. That's what got him. He was not a good general manager. The moves he made as a general manager over there just devastated that team. And on top of it, he's not a very good coach. He overplays his plays all so much, and he doesn't develop. Tips. One thing about Tibbs, if one of his boys, which I always have a problem with, I always have a problem. I always have a problem because coach said, "I'm one of your boys, and the rest of the rest of the team is what." I say they all your boys, and you're gonna see that. You're gonna see that this year, everybody on the next team going to be Mike Brown boys. Every one of them. He's gonna try to treat everyone the same. Just that certain players are going to get more minutes than others. But he's going to get it across. We are all equal here. We all deserve respect. We all trying to accomplish something. The young players are trying to establish themselves. They want to establish themselves. We want to see them established. We want to see progress from them, development. That's what we're looking for. But teams doesn't work that way. He basically developed a division within his own team. He created chaos within his own team. He created chaos where there are special players and the others are worthless or nothing. and they cannot do nothing in his eyes. You know, they cannot. They can whatever. There are times when he used to be Cameron Payne. He used to put Cameron Payne for no reason. There are times when yeah, many places he used to have. Um, what's that kid's name? There's Cameron Payne. He did it with Obi. He did it with what was that kid's name? Rivers, Doc Rivers' son, Austin Rivers. He would just pull this place for absolutely no reason. He would go against basketball. He literally would go against basketball, you know. But that's his way. Their players, I absolutely believe that. Their players, he just did not want them to be successful on his team. Yeah, Austin Rivers was definitely one of them. Austin Rivers good to know, right? He must have his 5 threes in the first half. There's no way that's not guaranteeing to see the second half. I, got, I don't want to. I'm mad if I can get cuss on this. I, I, I've never seen this in my life. Like 7 threes and that was out. Oh, man. Maybe I wait till the fourth quarter or end of the game to put you in. I never seen a coach that had a disdain. When teams has a disdain for a certain player, it did not matter what that player did or what. It did not guarantee their minutes. Yeah, so that's the crazy thing, you know. Yeah, no, but so I'm excited, man. I actually believe the Knicks can win about 65 games because, like I said, I always been impressed with this management team, and they have done a fabulous job of getting two plays, that's going to should have played a substantial role, a central role in the upcoming season. Plus the young players we need to see, you know, yeah, I like that. Like I said, and I like to see the Knicks find a way to get this kid because this kid is ready to be an NBA player. You know, I don't want to see him somewhere else, um, having performing at a high level because he's going to perform at a high level. So I would like to see how they're going to maneuver to find a way to get it. Yeah, I like the Think Pate. Wow. I mean, they just strengthen every going 10 deep, 11 deep. And if something happens, they have confident replacement. You can actually see that. You can actually see their vision coming in reality. You know. Excuse me, folks. So yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited. There's something else I wanted to bring up. But it skipped my mind. But I'm definitely excited. You know, to see how all these things going to come together. You know, I can see this thing going on some serious runs where they have 10-game winning streak. You know, during the season, like a number of times. Some serious ones. That's how highly I think of this team, the management, the players. You know, because if Mitch can stay healthy, we're going to be a beast. If Mitch can stay healthy, we're going to be a beast. because he's a beast of his own. Well, I mean, that guy's a special player. That guy's a special player. Yeah, he changes our whole thing. He's a special player. So if I have to see one player I don't want to see at the injured list, or I haven't even a sprained ankle or anything like that, it's Mitch. Yeah, I think we can survive any other. Even Brunswick, I do believe we can survive, and don't miss a beat. But Mitch, if we lose Mitch, man, we'll still be pretty good. But with Mitch, it's a whole different world. And Mitch can basically shut another team offense down completely by himself. He's that good. But when you can do that, man, when you have that much, you have that much talent on you, when you get that much power, that much effect on the other team, man. It's, we can go. There are times when the 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 score going to be so lopsided. We might, excuse me, we might not even want to play ourselves in the second half. You know, that's kind of dominance I'm looking for from the Knicks. Yeah, that's what some of the dominance I'm looking for the Knicks. Yeah, yeah. No. What else? Let's talk about one last thing. I can't remember. So, hey, I think it's a good point to end the stream and focus. I know some folks are going to get a chance to watch my second stream. This is my second stream. Uh, for all the trials and errors I went through, I'm just happy that I can actually make one without, and it's working properly. This one has actually been broadcast on YouTube simultaneously. You know, so it feels good to overcome some of the trials and tribulation and get into a place where I can see success. Now, all I need is a few viewers to watch my show and spread the word around. I'm pretty sure it will grow. It's just at its infancy. I'm just a baby. I know that. I'm just a baby, trying to grow, and learn how to. And I learned how to put my number on screen. Wow. So, yes, we'll talk. We have a lot to talk about. These subjects that I want to go more in depth in. The father's vision. I want to go more in depth in. I want to talk about that quite often, a lot. A lot. Because we need to turn the tide. Right now, I see us losing, our way. Yeah. So we'll talk. We'll talk again. We'll talk. Yeah, soon. Actually, I'm going to try to have a in the morning, probably 8 or 9, 8 o'clock, I think. You know, come on. I was trying to come on 8 o'clock this morning, but I needed to get some sleep. I woke overnight, and so uh, it was a rough night. Some nights were easy, some nights were rough. So I definitely need to get some sleep. So I'll see you hopefully tomorrow morning. Hopefully, some people will get a chance to watch the stream. Say, hey, maybe this guy's some relevant. Yeah, you make some relevant points. Be worth listening. All right. So, talk to you.